Thank you, friends, for your perseverance in spite of all our technical difficulties. So thank you for joining us and hanging in there. Now, the way we are going to present this program is we are going to discuss the significance of Wesak first, and then we're going to do a visualization based on Alice Bailey's rendition of the ceremony of Wesak itself on the hour of the full moon, so that you can listen to the recording if you're not going to be able to meditate with everyone at the time of the full moon. So what is the Wesak Festival? Well, the Wesak is the festival of the Buddha, who is the spiritual intermediary between the highest spiritual center, Shambhala, and hierarchy. The Buddha is the expression of the wisdom of God, the embodiment of the cosmic principle of light, and the indicator of the divine purpose. So at the full moon of May, or Taurus, the Buddha embodies in himself the powerful downpouring of energy, the dynamic energy of the divine will. For a very brief moment, 8 minutes in fact, at the Taurus full moon, he makes contact and blesses hierarchy and humanity. Year by year, since he left the earth, he has come back to humanity, bringing light and blessing. And year by year, he has released this light. How does he achieve this? Well, he keeps a channel open for the light to irradiate men's mind by piercing annually through light substance to the earth. Now, at Wesak, there is a critical alignment occurring between Shambhala, the Christ, the Buddha, hierarchy, and humanity. And the inflow of energy from Sanat Kumara, Buddha and the Christ triangle, is stepped down through the triangle of the 3 representatives of Shambhala within the hierarchy. That is, the Manu, the Christ himself, and the Mahachohan. They invoke the Buddha, who in his turn is the transmitter of still higher forces, and transmits the appeal to the one whose agent he is, that is, Sanat Kumara, the Lord of the world at Shambhala. There is also another very critical alignment occurring between the Lord of the world, linked through the Manu representing Shambhala, the Christ representing hierarchy, and the Master R, the Lord of civilization, representing humanity. The three great planetary centers are then related: Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity. And they can be brought into a close relation so that the result will be the setting up of such a potent vibration and note that the spirit of peace will be invoked and contacted. Well, we might ask, why the spirit of peace? Who is he? The spirit of peace, or the spirit of equilibrium, is an extra planetary being of terrific cosmic potency. Christ serves as a channel for his directed potency, as he will not and cannot descend from his high place. His energies are far, far too subtle and pure. He is destined to bring peace eventually upon earth through the expression of goodwill, which we will bring about right human relations. What is the effect of the energy of the forces of light and the spirit of peace? Well, it's the illumination of the minds of men with love and light. And this precipitates upon the mental plane. The spirit of peace will vitalize the responsiveness of humanity via the influence of hierarchy to the will of God, which has for basic intent the bringing of peace on earth. The Christ, the agent of the spirit of peace and the embodiment of love and will of God, can also be contacted. The Buddha, the agent of Sanat Kumara and the embodiment of the forces of light, can then be contacted too. Through the Buddha and the Christ, humanity now can establish a close relationship with Shambhala. What are the results of the direct alignment with Shambhala? Well, humanity will then, for the very first time, enter into its destined task as the intelligent, loving intermediary between the higher states of planetary consciousness, the superhuman states, and the subhuman kingdoms, the mineral, the vegetable, and the animal kingdom. Thus, humanity will become eventually the planetary savior. That is our task, to be the planetary savior. The Buddha, the embodiment of the cosmic principle of light or illumination, agent of Sanat Kumara, organizer of the forces of enlightenment, plus the Christ, the embodiment of the cosmic principle of love. Now, these two great streams of energy, Christ and the Buddha, fuse blend, release, and direct the forces of enlightenment during the 5 days of Wesak. The world disciples, the initiates, and the accepted disciples precipitate this combined energy of the Buddha and the Christ onto the waiting world. What is then the task of the Buddha? One is to facilitate the impress of the will of God or the divine plan upon the minds of men via the hierarchy, by being the intermediary between Shambhala and hierarchy. Secondly, is to keep a channel open for the light to irradiate men's minds by piercing annually through light substance to the earth. And thirdly, to invoke in humanity the spirit of demand, whilst holding open for them the channel whereby that demand can reach straight through to Shambhala. So the Buddha, the illumined one on the Atmic plane, releases the forces of light via the Christ and hierarchy on the Buddhic plane, and the solar angels on the higher mental plane, impressing the divine plan on the minds of men on the lower mental plane, thus illuminating them to establish right human relations and stimulating them to ask for help. Very important part here. The task of the Buddha and of the Christ at the time of the Taurus full moon is to channel and redirect the Shambhala force. The Buddha embodied the principle of light. The one demonstrated the height of the attainment of the third divine aspect. The Christ embodied the underlying energy of consciousness, the other that of the second aspect. And these two together present one perfect whole. Hence why both Wesak and the Festival of the Christ, why both festivals must be considered as one. The Buddha at Wesak evokes in humanity the spirit of demand for the forces of illumination, will to good and life. And these, that is, the forces of illumination, will to good and life, are precipitated by the new group of world servers, that is, us included, to humanity, who then, stimulated, asks for help. And at the June full moon, the Christ endeavors to gather into himself all that they have of appeal, prayer and demand, voiced or unvoiced, transmitting it in an act of spiritual intent to Shambhala. So what are we to do at Wesak? DK gives us this advice. I call you, everyone, to a great service of demand and invocation on behalf of humanity. A demand for the inflow of light upon the decisions of men. I would ask you to request and expect the needed enlightenment for those who have to make decisions on behalf of men everywhere. Your individual enlightenment has nothing to do with this demand. It is a selfless motive which is required here and which must lie behind your individual and group demand. There must be steadiness, selflessness, and silence, plus courage and confidence. Confidence in the strength of your own souls. Confidence in the watching hierarchy and confidence in the plan. I ask you, DK says, that no matter what hour the full moon each month may fall, to endeavor to keep half an hour free so that you can attempt to enter in my consciousness. So that's not a lot to ask, friends. DK is asking to keep only a minimum of half an hour. And so to attempt to find some time as near to the full moon period as is reasonably possible in your own particular circumstances. And this, my brother, is to be a group effort and not an individual one. And it is as a group that I shall seek to contact you. So we can do a simple visualization. Just like a plant absorbs water, nutrients, and carbon dioxide onto itself and reaches towards the light. So imagine groups of disciples gathering humanity's aspirations, people's longing for union with the divine unrecognized yet, their desire for a better life, for right human relations, peace, and harmony in the world. Then offer them to the Buddha, to hierarchy, to the source of illumination and life. And stand in spiritual being in service to the whole. So just like the plant releases sugar and oxygen to nourish the other kingdoms, see the groups then radiating light in the minds of men, illuminating the mental world, stimulating men's minds to take right action towards establishing right relations with one another and strengthening the will to good in all those who love humanity. So may the blessings of the Masters rest upon you as a group and as individuals. And may the holy ones whose pupil you seek to become show you the light you seek, give you the strong aid of their compassion and their wisdom, until you stand where the one initiator is invoked, until you see his star shine forth. So now let's visualize the ceremony at Wesak at the time of the full moon, which is a very simplified version of the legend of Wesak by Alice Bailey. High up in the foothills of the Himalayan Tibet ranges, there is a valley called the Wesak Valley, surrounded by high mountains on all sides, except towards the northeast, where there is a narrow opening in the mountain range. Up towards the northern end, there is a huge flat rock. And in that valley, there are no trees or shrubs, but it's covered with grass, and the sides of the mountain covered in trees. There, a group of beings gather, the masters of hierarchy, custodians of the logoic plan in all their grades, all taught and led by the Christ, the head of hierarchy, the master of all masters, the teacher alike of men and angels. They place themselves facing the eastern end of the valley in concentric circles according to their initiatory status. They all gather together for a great act of sacrifice for humanity. 3 beings stand in front of a flat rock looking towards the east. The Christ in the center, the Manu, the Ray 1 master, on his right, and the Mahachohan, the Lord of Civilization, the Ray 3 master, on his left. The 3 masters face the rock upon which rests a crystal ball of water. They carry a bowl too. Behind that small group of masters stand the other masters with all their initiates, disciples in their various grades according to their ashram. They all stand together with their cup in their hands. A crowd gathers there, some in their physical presence, but others in their subjective bodies, just like us right now. So find your group. Join in with your soul brothers and sisters. The whole great white brotherhood stands together as one in silence, very reverently, in disciplined purity, selflessness, and utter receptivity. Only the soft movement of people taking up their symbolic positions in anticipation of the Buddha's presence can be heard. Then a focused silence descends upon the crowd. It's a still night, not a cloud in the sky, no wind, not a sound or a whisper. All of us are poised, serene, and receptive, waiting in contemplative reflection for the presence of the Buddha, who will appear shortly for a brief 8 minutes to shower humanity with light and to bless hierarchy and humanity, transmitting the will of the Logos to us. The Christ takes his position at the apex of the triangle of masters as head of hierarchy, facing the east. See now, the Lord of the world, Sanat Kumara, the Logos of our planet Earth, also in deep meditation, receiving the energy of will from the solar Logos and passing it on to the Buddha. The Buddha, the embodiment of the forces of light, in turn directs the forces of light and enlightenment to the Christ, the embodiment of cosmic love, the agent of the Spirit of peace, pouring onto him renewed spiritual life and light. see a shaft of light illuminate the crystal bowl of water. The water, magnetized by the Buddha and the Christ, is the symbol of life, love, and light, peace on earth, goodwill to men, with healing properties to be imbued by all, renewing one's spiritual orientation towards the higher values of sacrifice, selflessness, and service. The Christ bends over, picks up the bowl of water, and gently pours some in the bowls of the masters, who then filled the bowls of their disciples. They in turn distribute to the rest of the crowd, each person pouring the water of life to one another. A true symbol of the Aquarian age, the water carrier pouring the waters of life to thirsty men. Symbolically, see the whole assembly, us included, turn to the rest of humanity, imaginatively fill their cups with life, strength, light, and love. And see that symbolic wave of light, power, and love carried further from the Wesak Valley to the whole planet, enlivening it. And now imagine our planet radiating out the forces of illumination, enlightenment, and wisdom. Close our visualization by intoning the powerful first and second invocations as a group soul, saying them with intensity of feeling, in unison with hierarchy on the inner planes, as we grasp their significance and believe that they embody the will of the planetary logos. Let the forces of light bring illumination to mankind. Let the spirit of peace be spread abroad. May men of goodwill everywhere meet in a spirit of cooperation. May forgiveness on the part of all men be the keynote at this time. Let power attend the efforts of the great ones, and so let it be. And help us to do our part. second invocation. Let the Lords of Liberation issue forth. Let them bring succor to the sons of men. Let the rider from the secret place come forth, and coming save. Come forth, O mighty one. Let the souls of men awaken to the light, and may they stand with massed intent. Let the fiat of the Lord go forth. The end of woe has come. Come forth, O mighty one. The hour of service of the saving force has now arrived. Let it be spread abroad, O mighty one. Let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one. The will to save is here. The love to carry forth the work is widely spread abroad. The active aid of all who know the truth is also here. Come forth, O mighty one, and blend these three. Construct a great defending wall. The rule of evil now must end. And let's close with a great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. Oh, from the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Raise your clasp hands above the head and say, and so let it be, and help us to do our part. Then bring them down to your forehead and let them rest gently on your heart, to be distributed during the day. to all those around you, in our community, in our town, and in our country, and beyond. Let that love and light and will to good ripple into the hearts of humanity, and let it resonate with our loving hearts. Thank you, friends, for joining us today, and our gratitude for your presence, your patience with technology, your commitment and selfless service to humanity at this important spiritual event. May I remind you that we have our healing garden 10 hours before the full moon of Taurus. So please join us and go to our website to find your local time and to obtain the link. Thank you, friends. And I will also remind you that this recording will be posted on our website, friends. So you can use this simple visualization leading up to Wesak and at Wesak full time as well, if you can't join any other group.